For over 200 years, the Galactic Summit had met in the same vast chamber, an enormous ring of crystal and steel floating above the capital world of Galar Prime. Every seat in that great room shone with banners of mighty empires, ancient civilizations, and new species eager to prove themselves. Every seat, except one. That one was always empty. The chair marked Terra Earth had not been used since the summit was first formed. Some leaders thought humans had wiped themselves out. Others believed they were simply too primitive to join the galaxy. But the old racists, those who had seen humans before, never laughed. They feared. They remembered the way humans fought during the Collapse Wars, how they refused surrender, how they burned their own worlds just to deny the enemy, and how, at the end of it all, they simply vanished. No trade, no messages, no probes, just silence. And still, Earth's chair remained. Today, on the 212th meeting of the summit, the same arguments echoed again. "Remove the seat," snapped High Speaker Krell of the Valari Empire. His voice rang sharp through the chamber. 2 centuries of absence, Earth has no interest in peace. Why keep pretending they belong? Others nodded. Agreed, rumbled Groshtak of the Drail Coalition. They mock us with their silence. They had their chance. But one voice smaller, softer spoke up. "They may have their reasons," said Counselor Vyra of the Lothari. "We don't know what Earth is planning. Perhaps it's better that way." "Or worse," muttered someone. The discussion shifted quickly. A new threat had emerged near the edge of known spaceships spotted in the outer dark. Black as shadow, moving without light or heat. No signals, no identification, just movement. Quiet, purposeful. "They match no known design," said Anne. Analysts drone, projecting blurred images onto the holoscreens. And they seemed to be mapping routes into settled space. A few species called for preparation. Most dismissed it. "This is paranoia," said Speaker Krell. "Another ghost story." And then it happened. A low chime echoed through the chamber. Every screen blinked, every communicator buzzed. The summit fell silent in the center of the hall. New image appeared when no one had seen in over 200 years. A signal, human origin, encrypted. With ancient Terran code, unbreakable, clear, precise. It displayed only 3 things: a galactic coordinate, a timestamp, countdown. The room sat in stunned silence. "Is this a joke?" Krell asked, his voice now unsure. "Impossible," said the analyst drone. "The code is real. From Earth, and it's active." The countdown ticked down from 72 hours. No message, no explanation, just the numbers. 737170. And Earth's empty chair sat there untouched, but no longer forgotten in the hours that followed. The entire galaxy turned its eyes toward the coordinates. They pointed to a patch of space near the neutral zone and claimed. Empty, silent. Patrol ships were dispatched. Scouts raced ahead, and they found nothing. At first just dust and starlight, but then movement, tiny ripples in gravity. Faint trails in dark matter, like something huge was hiding, waiting on Galar Prime. Panic spread among the ruling classes. Emergency sessions were called. Military leaders demanded action. "Earth has declared war," one admiral shouted. "This is an invasion." "No shots have been fired," replied Counselor Vyra. "We must not assume the worst. They vanished for 200 years. Now they return with encrypted threats? That's not peace." And still the countdown ticked. Across thousands of worlds, people watched the timer. News feeds ran 24/7 updates. Children whispered stories of Earth's return. Soldiers were put on high alert. Fleets were scrambled, and Earth said nothing. At hour 48, the Galactic Navy sent a probe to the coordinates. The probe vanished without a trace. No signal, no debris. At hour 36, a patrol cruiser approached the edge of the zone. Its crew reported. Shadows, not ships. Shadows moving against space itself. And then silence. No escape pod. No warning. Just silence. Hour 24. A deep space telescope picked up something. Something big. No heat. No signal. just massive gravitational signatures, moving slowly. In formation, not 10 ships, not 100, thousands, hour 12. The Galactic Council. Gathered in full emergency session, the president of the Unity world spoke. "We cannot stop this," she said. "If they mean war, we are unprepared. We are fractured. Divided. We must speak with Earth. We must understand why they have returned." "They are not here to talk," said Krell bitterly. "This is punishment. We ignored them. We mocked them. And now they bring their judgment. Hour 1. Silence. No. New signals, no reply. The ships had stopped at the edge of the zone. They just hovered there, waiting hour 0. The countdown hit 0, and then every single system across the galaxy went dark. Screens flickered. Ships powered down. Even the great summit hall plunged into darkness. And then, light one screen turned on. In the center of the chamber, a face appeared. Human, old, weathered, cold eyes. He wore no uniform, no rank, no flag, but his voice. It silenced the room. "This is Ambassador Kane of the Terran Sovereignty," he said. "Earth has returned." No one spoke. Kane continued. "You ignored us. You erased us. You forgot us. That ends now." He raised his hand. Behind him, a window showed Earth's fleet. Gigantic ships. Black as void, bristling with weapons the Council had never seen. They stood in perfect silence, perfectly still. "You face a threat beyond your understanding," Kane said. "We have watched, we have waited, now we act." The screen cut to black. The summit stayed silent. Earth's chair, still untouched, now felt like a throne. Far above Galar Prime, in the dark, a single human warship emerged from stealth. It was the size of a small moon. Its hull bore the name TSS. Deliverance. It moved slowly, carefully. Not to attack, not yet, but to show the galaxy that Earth had returned, and Earth was no longer asking for a seat. They were taking command. The galaxy held its breath. 12 hours had passed since the Terran fleet arrived. The countdown was over. The message had been delivered. The face of Ambassador Kane was now burned into every screen, every mind, every heart, across hundreds of systems, and still the fleet didn't move. 1,000 ships. Perfectly silent, no signals, no scans, no lights. It was like the entire armada had frozen in place. Just outside the Council's defensive borders, but everyone knew it wasn't frozen. It was watching. On Galar Prime, the Galactic Council remained. In emergency session, dozens of species argued, shouted, whispered in fear. "This is madness," said Krell of the Volari. "They've surrounded us with warships. Why haven't they attacked?" "They don't want destruction," said Counselor Viral of the Letheri quietly. "Not yet." "Then what do they want?" groaned Groshtak. "Why say nothing?" But no one had the answer. Across the galaxy, its rumors spread fast, on mining colonies near the rim. Workers claimed they saw giant shadows drifting through the star's black ships. Bigger than anything known, on trade stations, merchants fled there, posts fearing a human invasion. On military outposts, admirals watched the silent Terran ships on long-range scans, able to do anything but wait. Then, without warning, a second signal arrived, but this one didn't come from the Terran fleet. It came from the other side of the galaxy, from a dead planet known only as Sarah 9 Amperes. It's a place abandoned since the War of Glass, a place no one had visited in 300 years. And now it was sending out a distress beacon. Encrypted, old code, human-made, and it was repeating one word, over and over, awakened. Within minutes, sensors across nearby systems picked up new activity, strange energy readings, disturbances in dark matter, space folding, then tearing as if something ancient, something terrible, was moving again. The Council panicked. Is this connected to Earth? One ambassador asked, "Are they luring us into a trap? Or warning us?" said Viral. The message from Earth had mentioned a threat beyond understanding. Had Serenine just confirmed it? The Council ordered a scout ship to SER Ron-9, a small vessel. Light. Fast. Designed for stealth and observation. It carried no weapons, only cameras and sensors. Its mission: investigate the source of the signal and return. What they found wasn't expected. As the ship approached Serenine, it passed through debris fields, ships shattered long ago during the War of Glass. The surface of the planet was cold. It's black and cracked like an old bone, but deep beneath the surface, something had opened. A rift. A hole in reality. And from that hole came voices, not sounds, not radio. Waves, but voices inside the crew's minds. They spoke in a language older than stars, words that felt like knives. The crew screamed. The ship turned to flee, but it was already too late. Back on Galar Prime, the feed from the scout ship ended in static. Then came the screams, unnatural, echoing, and then silence. Another ship lost. At that same moment, something stirred within the Terran fleet. The silent warships, parked like statues, suddenly turned as one, pointing their weapons away from Galar Prime, toward Saran-9. They had known, they had waited, and now they were moving. The council scrambled. What are they doing? They're leaving. No, not leaving, Vyro said, eyes wide. They're hunting. The Terran fleet, all 1,000 ships, jumped into hyperspace within seconds. No lights, no warning. Just vanishing their destination, Saran-9. And this time, they didn't come in silence. Orbiting the dead planet, the Terran fleet surrounded the dark rift, and then they opened fire. Not with ordinary weapons, not with missiles or lasers, but with ancient human tech. Systems powered by energy the rest of the galaxy know. Longer understood, beams of white fire, shockwaves of gravity burns that erased atoms. They attacked the rift like it was alive, because it was. From the rift came shapes, not ships, not machines, but things, crawling, floating, drifting, in impossible ways. Creatures, made of shadow and noise, the enemy Earth had warned them about. The threat from the outer dark. And for the first time in centuries, the galaxy saw humans fight. They didn't fight for conquest. They didn't fight for land. They fought like predators. Guarding home, every ship moved with perfect precision. Every shot found its target. No mercy, no hesitation, no retreat. It was brutal, terrifying, and beautiful. Back on Galar Prime, the Council watched the live feed with wide eyes, one by one. The dark creatures were destroyed. The rift collapsed. The planet cracked in two, and then silence. The battle was over, and Earth had won alone. No help. No alliance, just strength, cold, absolute, unmatched. Then came the final message, one that reached every screen, every speaker, every system. AmbassadorKane'sVoice.com as before. The threat has been contained for now. Acted because no one else would. We expect no thanks, no apology, but know this: Earth is not your enemy, lest you make us one. And with that, the feed ended. The Terran fleet vanished once more, back into the shadows. But this time the galaxy didn't forget, and Earth's chair at the Galactic Summit. It wasn't empty anymore. Galar Prime was quiet. For the first time in centuries, the capital of the Galactic Council had gone completely silent. The streets were empty. News screens played the same footage again and again. Earth's 1,000 warships, orbiting the shattered ruins of Saran-9. The monstrous creatures from the rift. It's the way the Terrans had destroyed them without hesitation. And then vanished. The people across the stars didn't cheer. They didn't celebrate. They watched in silence, because they understood something. Now Earth hadn't come to make peace. Earth had come to clean up the galaxy's mess. Inside the Great Council chamber, no one spoke for hours. Delegates from over 100 species just sat there, watching the empty holofeed, afraid to say what they were all thinking. Earth had power. More than any of them, it wasn't a myth anymore. The silence ended when the room's main screen blinked to life. No one had touched it. No signal was detected, but still, the screen turned on, and there he was, the same human face. Ambassador Kane, his eyes calm, his voice cold. He didn't ask for permission. He just spoke. "Members of the Galactic Council," he began, "your worlds are safe for now. But your weakness, your arguments, and your politics nearly doomed the galaxy. You've spent centuries holding summits, talking, debating, ignoring Earth, while you did nothing. Something was watching. We acted because no one else would." He paused. No one interrupted. "We left the Council 2 centuries ago because we saw what it was becoming. A stage for empty words, not real action. But now, we've returned. Not to beg, not to join, but to lead." The room shifted with unease. A few diplomats bristled, but none dared speak. Kane leaned forward slightly. His voice grew colder. "We are activating the Terran Accord. A set of laws, a new system of defense. Anyone who wishes protection from what lies in the outer dark will follow it. Anyone who doesn't will stand alone. The Council failed. Earth will not." The screen went dark. No one spoke for several minutes, until High Speaker Krell, voice shaking, said, "Are we just going to let them take over?" "They already have," Groshtek growled. "We couldn't stop them if we wanted to." "Saved us," said Counselor Viral. "Without Earth, that rift would still be open. Those things would be crawling through it. This isn't about saving us," snapped another. "This is about control." "But they were right," Viral whispered. "We sat here for years, debating trade routes while death crept in from the edge of the galaxy." A long silence followed, and then another voice spoke. Not from the chamber, not from any known speaker. From deep space. A direct broadcast across all channels. It was human. Female, sharp, precise. "This is Fleet Commander Riva Solari of the Terran Sovereignty. Our armada is returning to the core. We will not attack. We do not want war. But the days of the Council leading alone are over. We now share the stars." The message ended. No threats, no negotiations, just truth. Back on Eartha. Planet still mostly hidden from the rest of the galaxy. Massive screens showed live feeds from around the stars. People didn't cheer there either. They didn't have to. They were ready. Every ship captain, every soldier, every scientist. Earth had waited 200 years in silence, not to forget the galaxy, but to prepare for it. And now they were no longer shadows. They were power. On Galar Prime, inside the private chambers of the Council, a vote began. Not on war, not on sanctions, but on something else. Should they accept the Terran Accord? Should they let Earth lead, or resist and risk facing the next threat alone? The vote wasn't unanimous, but it was clear 67% voted yes. The Terran Accord was accepted. Earth's laws, defense protocols, and surveillance networks would spread across Council space. For the first time in history, the galaxy would share power with humanity, whether they wanted to or not. And yet, in the far edges of space, just beyond the shattered ruins of Serenine, sensors picked up something strange. A small energy spike. Then, another, not from the rift, not from Earth, but from deeper. Beyond charted space, something had watched Earth's battle, something had learned, and something had begun to move. The Terran fleet was returning home, but this war was just beginning. The Galactic Council had made its choice. They voted to follow the Terran Accord, to work under Earth's guidance for the safety of all, but many still doubted. Some believed Earth had returned only to seize power. Others whispered about something darker, about how Earth had survived for 2 centuries without contact, come back with unstoppable force. Only one person searched for the truth. Her name was Lyra Ansel, an archivist from the neutral race of Aetheri. She wasn't a warrior or a leader. She didn't speak in the Council's grand chamber or command fleets. She was a historian, one of the few who remembered how things used to be, and she remembered Earth. Lyra stood before a sealed door deep beneath the Council hall, a thick slab of ancient alloy, no markings, no lights, no key. This was the vault. A forgotten records a place where dangerous files were hidden, locked away for centuries. Only the oldest members of the council even knew it existed, and now, for the first time in generations. It opened. The door hissed quietly. Dust drifted into the air. Lyra stepped inside. The room was cold, silent. The lights flickered on slowly, revealing endless shelves of data cores, scrolls, and memory stones. Each one sealed, each one marked. Classified code. Arita Lyra moved carefully. Guided by a single file name, Terra, last CIO, Anna Satishi found it on a small, unmarked data slab near. The center, it was old, predigital, almost forgotten by time. She connected it to a portable translator. The screen came alive, and the truth began to speak. Date: Galactic. Year 7341 file. Terran Incident Level 10 Clearance Voice. Log begins. This is Admiral Ronix of the Galactic Defense Corps. Earth has officially withdrawn from the Council. No explanation, no negotiations. They simply left. We tried to force them back. Sent ships to patrol their space. That was a mistake. One of our fleets entered their system. 5 destroyers, command carrier, fully armed. They were erased. No distress call, no battle, just silence. It's only one probe escaped damaged, half-blind. But it captured something. Lyra's hands trembled. She tapped the screen. An old shaky video played. The footage was static-filled, blurred, broken. But the shape was clear. A massive ship, blacker than space, shaped like a blade. Out. Drifting slowly past shattered council vessels. No sound, no lights, just a shadow that cut through metal and life alike. Then the video ended. The voice log continued. We sealed the records, voted to hide what happened. We told the galaxy that Earth had gone silent, that they turned inward. But we knew they weren't hiding. They were watching. Lyra backed away from the screen. She felt cold. Her people had voted for the Rin Accord, but they hadn't known this. They hadn't known the truth. Outside the vault, Lyra rushed through the dark halls of the council's lower chambers. She needed to tell someone, anyone, but the moment she reached the exit, she stopped. Someone was waiting. Tall, still, wrapped in a black cloak. Human. You've seen the file, figure said calmly. Lyra stepped back. Who are you, observer? Watcher? Sentinel? His voice was emotionless. I was placed here before Earth returned, to ensure the truth did not cause panic. You've been here for years? He nodded. I was not the only one. Lyra's heart pounded. Why hide this? Why now? The human turned his head slightly. Because the enemy you saw at Serenine was only a scout. What? There is more coming, he said. And Earth is not ready to fight it alone. Lyra stared at him, mind racing. You're saying? The rift creatures were just the beginning? Yes, the human replied. And what lies beyond them was once part of us. That night. Lyra secretly copied the data from the vault and sent it to trusted scholars across the galaxy. But within hours, those scholars vanished. Their systems went dark. Their messages deleted. Only one line remained on their screens. You were warned. Meanwhile, on Earth, Ambassador Kane stood before a massive star map, thousands of red lights blinking across the edge of known space. Each one marked a disturbance. Each one marked movement. Is it time? Asked Fleet Commander Reva Solari. Kane nodded slowly. We've delayed too long. They're waking up faster than expected, in the Council. Kane's voice dropped. They still think they're in charge. But Kane knew better. He had read the deeper files. He knew what Earth had built in secret. He knew about the Black Vault, the Phantom Shipyards, and Project Hellfire, and he knew. They would need every weapon, every secret, and every warrior too. Survive what was coming. Because the truth was simple. Earth hadn't come back for power. They had come back. Because the galaxy was running out of time. The stars were not silent anymore. Out beyond the Council's borders. In places no probe had ever reached, something moved. It had no name. It had no face, and it did not care for peace. On a lonely research station orbiting Delta Vex-7, scientists had been studying background radiation. It was a quiet job, boring, routine, nothing strange had ever happened. There, until the black wave came. It wasn't light, it wasn't energy, it was absence. All the sensors blinked. Systems froze, gravity warped, then the stars disappeared, just blinked out like candles, crushed by a hand. The crew tried to send a message. They never finished it. The station went dark and vanished. No explosion. No debris, just ... gone back on Galar Prime. A small room deep beneath the council tower came alive with alerts. The emergency cosmic threat. Network a system built long ago, but never used flashed red dot. It registered one word: anomaly. Within the hour, Ambassador Kane received the report. He didn't speak, he didn't blink. He simply turned to the wall-sized screen behind him and activated. A dark panel, a giant red ring glowed into view, a hidden zone beyond explored space. A label hovered above it, restricted the VOIDL, and beside it were 3 words: Project. Shadow PROTOCOL, on the Terran flagship TSS Deliverance. Fleet Commander Riva Solari paced the bridge. Kane's voice came through the comms. "It's happening." She stopped cold.
I'll just wait a line broken.
Riva stared at the screen. Her officers waited silently. "We have only days before it reaches settled space." At the council summit, Lyra Ansel tried to speak again, but no one listened. She had warned them in Part 4. She had shown them the files from the Forbidden Archives, but still, they doubted. The humans are just using fear to control us. Speaker Krell snapped. "There is no proof of this outer dark." Viral spoke quietly. "They destroyed Serenine alone." "Are you really so blind?" Groshtak growled. "If something is coming, let Earth fight it." They wanted command. But Earth was already preparing the Terran sovereignty, sent encrypted messages to hidden bases. Doors long buried beneath moons began to open. Satellites moved into strange patterns. Ancient war factories came back to life, and from the far side of Mars, a massive structure began to rise, a ringed device never seen by the Council. Its name was Clipsgate 1, aboard the Deliverance. Kane met with Reva face to face for the first time in years. "I saw it," she whispered. "The shape in the dark. I thought it was a ship, but it moved wrong, like it wasn't touching space the way we do." Kane nodded. "They were pushed back before, long ago, before Earth joined the Council.
Oh.
But now, they're coming back." What were they? No one really knew, not even Earth. But records spoke of them, the null-spawn creatures born beyond stars. Things that fed on energy, memory, life itself, not invaders. Extinguishers. And they were not ships. They were ... events. The Terran High. Command activated Protocol Blacklight. Thousands of Terran warships began moving toward the edge of the galaxy. Each one carried strange new weapons. Each one was ready to fight a war no one truly understood, and still, they were unsure if it would be enough. Far away near the old border world of Thalasphy, a small freighter picked up something strange. Its pilot, an old trader named Bren, had traveled for 60 years. He knew every path, every trick. But when he came out of hyperspace, the stars were wrong. They had moved. No, they had been erased. He stared into the dark void ahead, and he saw its eyes not glowing, not shining, just ... watching. Bren sent one word back before his ship was torn apart. "Run." The Council finally called an emergency session. Kane didn't attend in person. He sent a recording. "The time for voting is over. The Terran Accord stands. The fleet is moving. If you want to survive, stay behind us. If not, prayer. Worlds are fast enough to flee. We will not ask again." Some still doubted, some still resisted. But many, too many, finally realized the truth. The war wasn't between Earth and the Council. It was between existence and extinction, and only Earth had prepared for it from deep within the Eclipse Gate. Something massive activated, a light, a sound no one could hear. But every ship felt. Space bent, time shook, and out of the gate came Earth's final hope. not a fleet, not a weapon, but something older, worse, something they had promised to never use again. Its name wasn't spoken, but on every Terran system. The alarm read, "Releasing Project Dreadfire." The galaxy watched in stunned silence as Earth's warships emerged from the darkness. But these were not old relics or ceremonial vessels. They were built for war, massive, silent, unstoppable. And their leader sent just 5 words that froze the Council's blood. Judgment arrives in 6 hours. Plot 2,000 words, summarized below. The Council chambers fall into panic. Every race present begins to prepare for war. Emergency defenses are activated. Old alliances are called upon. Fleets are scrambled toward the sector Earth just marked. Still, no one dares to strike first. The signal is clear. Judgment is coming. But no one knows what Earth's judgment truly means. From the far rim of the galaxy, nearly 1,000 human warships move in perfect silence. No comms, no explanation. Just coordination, flawless and chilling. These ships are not marked with flags or banners. They bear only a symbol, a scorched Earth. Many believe Earth has come for revenge. Some believe this is retaliation for centuries of being ignored, mocked, and excluded. But one young alien ambassador, Kale of the Siluri, believes something else. Earth isn't here for the Council. Earth is here because of the Outer Dark Hand. They know what it truly is. Kale races against time, trying to reach a human ship. His vessel is small, fast, unarmed. Against orders, he flies straight toward the Judgment Fleet. The humans do not. Fire instead. They let Kale through. Inside the command bridge of the lead ship, a dreadnought, the size of a small moon, Kale sees only one human in a black uniform. Standing before a glowing display, the man turns, eyes cold and calm. "We warned them," he says simply. Now they watch. Kale is told the truth. Earth missed every summit not out of arrogance, but because they were fighting something older than the stars. Something now. Coming for everyone, the Outer Dark is no longer at the edge. It's here and the human fleet. They're not here to conquer. They're here to hold the line alone. They must. As the final hour ticks down, the sky begins to tear. The galaxy had seen wars. They had survived plagues, rebellions, and extinction-level events. But nothing had prepared them for what now unfolded above their skies. The stars began to vanish, swallowed one by one. The Outer Dark had arrived. Earth's fleet was the only thing standing in its way. The Galactic Council is paralyzed. Every sensor across 100 systems goes dark. Communications fail. Energy readings go wild. Space itself begins to bend. From the edge of the galaxy, an unnatural void is spreading like a living shadow, devouring light, time, and matter. They call it the Outer Dark. But it is not just a thing. It is alive. It has intelligence. The 1,000 human warships move with terrifying precision. They don't run. They don't panic. They engage knowing most won't survive. Each human ship fights with ancient dark energy weapons unseen by the rest of the galaxy. Energy pulses ripple through the void. The sky is full of brilliant fire, then silence. Entire star systems go dark. Worlds are torn apart. Still the humans fight. From the command ship HSS Revenant, the human admiral sends a broadcast. It's translated into every galactic language. This is not war. This is containment. Do not interfere. Save your people. We hold the line. In the council chamber, some members finally understand Earth never ignored the galaxy. They were buying time for it. Many of Earth's ships are lost. The void takes dozens every minute. But every second they hold gives other races time too. Prepare evacuations. Back on his observation vessel, young Solari Ambassador Kale watches the battle from afar. He's joined by representatives of 5 other species. They all look to Kale. For the first time in history, non-human species feel true fear, because the most feared thing in the galaxy is no longer humanity. It's what they're fighting in the final moments of the episode. The HSS Revenant begins charging a device called the Last Sun, a weapon powered by the core of a dead star. It was built not to win, but to close the door behind them. Calais whispers, "They're not trying to survive. They're trying to save us." And as the stars disappear, the screen fades to black. The stars were dying. The void had swallowed dozens of systems. Earth's fleet was nearly gone, yet humanity was not finished. In the final hour, they didn't ask for help. They gave an answer. One final, terrible, beautiful answer. And the galaxy would never forget it. Across the galaxy, billions watched helplessly. The outer dark consumed everything it touched. Planets blinked out. Suns went cold. The last line was now Earth's scattered, battered fleet, and even that was breaking. The HSS Revenant, Earth's command ship, floated at the edge of the void. It was damaged. Fires burned along its hull. Hundreds of smaller human ships had already vanished, swallowed by the darkness. And still, the Revenant did not retreat. Inside, Admiral Lucien Gray stood before a glowing console. His officers, wounded, exhausted, and silent, waited for the final command. On the screen, the weapon named the Last Sun was fully charged. A voice on the comms: "Target locked. Core field stable. Final countdown initiated." But this wasn't just a weapon. It was Earth's last message. All across the galaxy, screens flickered on. Ships, stations, worlds every corner where life still lived received the same encrypted signal. The last message from humanity, too. All species of the known galaxy, for 2 centuries, we stayed away. We warned you of the darkness. You called us extinct. You called us cowards. You called us monsters. We did not respond, because we were building this. A prison, not a weapon. A wall, not a victory. Today, we sealed the door. Earth stands between. You and the dark. We will not survive it, but you will. The countdown reached 0, and then the Last Sun ignited. A blinding sphere of light expanded from the Revenant's position, white, gold, and brilliant. It tore through the void like a storm of pure energy. The stars that had gone black were relit. Systems once consumed were freed for a moment, just long enough for survivors to escape. The weapon didn't destroy the outer dark. It caged it. The explosion created a bound area ring of quantum fire that locked the darkness away, frozen beyond time and space. A dead zone stretching for hundreds of light years formed a prison around the ancient evil. But it came at a cost. All 1,000 human warships vanished. The HSS REVENANT gone. No signal. No survivors. No trace. For weeks, the Council remained silent. Then, one by one, species across the stars began leaving tributes in orbit around old Earth. Monuments, songs, flags, writings. They called the region the Halo of the Brave, and Earth, its people, never answered again. But their silence now meant something else entirely. Not absence, sacrifice.